That improvisational style that Naseem Hamed developed as a kid is being exposed. They were the words of old Larry Merchant during the HBO call of Naseem Hamed's only first and last defeat against Marco Antonio Barrera. A defeat that I think very much encouraged his retirement. But the caveat to that loss to Naseem, who fought in such a way that he created, I think, a very passionate fan base, the slight alibi has been that this is a guy whose head wasn't really in the game anymore. He already had one foot in retirement, and that was very well chronicled in a great documentary that was released after the fight called Big Fight Little Prince. I'm not sure if it was released anywhere apart from the UK, but it really well chronicled how Naz's head just wasn't in there anymore, and the most important fight of his career he's treating. It's not that he wasn't taking it seriously, but everything just seemed disorganized. And then there was a segment where he was making sure that his haircut was absolutely perfect, and he had somebody flown in from another country to do it. Like, ridiculous stuff. I don't know whether he used to do that, but it was a sign that things were starting to fall apart. More importantly, things were falling apart in the gym. He had got with Manny Stewart, the legendary Manny Stewart, a guy who you'd think could easily re-inspire and reconfigure somebody's failing fighting abilities for the better. But with Naz, who I think had just decided he's his own boss, you can see the clips of sparring. It's really raggedy, and we know Naz could fight ragged anyway because he didn't have those basic fundamentals. He relied on reflexes and that incredible power. So when he really fell in love with just the power, some of that sparring is ugly. The question is, with what Larry Merchant said, how much truth did it bear? Would Naz have always lost to Marco Antonio Barrera? Even if you get the guy in the 90s with Brendan Ingle, he's got his head screwed on more and his hands aren't troubling him as much. They've got less wear and tear. Can he somehow make that awkward, intuitive style work and corkscrew uppercut the Mexican out of there and take him out like Junior Jones did do earlier in the Mexican's career? I fancy no. I think Barrera, particularly the night he fought Naz, was the most complete fighter Naz had ever fought, was razor sharp, was countering him, was leading when he needed to, out jabbing him, going to the body when he got too close. He just cut him off pretty much at every corner. And he probably, to my best judgment, would always punish the lack of real fundamental skills in Naz and always pretty much outpoint him. It wasn't a battering, was it? But it was close. It was a schooling. I gave it to Barrera by about 9-3. So to say Naz at his best could somehow eliminate that points deficit and still win, I think that's too fanciful. Of course, the likes of Frank Warren says that. He's his promoter. But personally, I just don't see it. I think you have to correct too much with Naz to overcome Marco Antonio Barrera. But if they did fight, and you can get the perfect Naz, you can get him from the 90s with Brendan Ingle, no hand trouble, and he's taking this extra seriously. And he comes in with that mindset where he could box quite well when he pieced his shots together and he was thinking more, and he did use a bit of at least a flicking jab. If we get that Naz, can he turn the tables on the baby-faced assassin? I don't think he ever could, but what do you reckon?